Hello, everyone. Welcome to 20 Somethings. I'm Nate, and tonight we got kind of an odd episode. So, right before we started the show tonight, we found out that we got copyright and not by YouTube. So, remember that video of the pasta sauce clip we played last week? So, apparently, the guy who owns the clip decided to sue us. Just decided to go on YouTube, look us up wherever we were, and decided to sue us. So now we cannot go live on YouTube for the rest of the semester. So tonight we are going to bring everyone in on StreamYard, and we're just going to have a whole conversation with all of us tonight.
Oh wait.
There's a lot of us here.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Greetings, welcome.
Anyone seen any good movies lately?
Apparently there's a new Marvel movie, or Justice League.
All right.
It's actually DC.
Yeah. First of all, the Justice League isn't a Marvel movie.
It's DC, I'm sorry.
But yeah. So this past Thursday, Zack Snyder's The Justice League came out, and which is somewhat significant because he originally stepped down from the project, and the Justice League came out in 2017, which was finished by Joss Whedon, and Zack Snyder stepped down because his daughter died, and his wife actually stepped down as well because she was a producer on the film. And I'm very happy because it was really great, and it was great to see Zack's vision fulfilled, and it makes me very hopeful going into the film industry.
I thought the film was like a really cool take on a lot of the superheroes. Just the first time I watched the OG Justice League, it was a little disheartening in a sense because I personally didn't feel like they did a lot of the characters justice. But I liked what they brought to Barry Allen, especially just because growing up, my brother and I were addicted to the CW show, The Flash, and so I just thought it was a really awesome take on him because I think they made him very much human, where I feel it's a lot of what they did in the past was made him only comedic relief. So I like to see that.
I feel like they actually gave him something to do.
Yeah.
In the Snyder Cut, whereas in the original, he was just there to make quippy jokes.
Yeah. Well-rounded.
I've never even heard of this.
I haven't either.
Oh, cool.
If I'm being honest.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
No, yeah. Me either, honestly. I was too scared to say that. But
I'm familiar, but it's 4 hours long, so I'm
It is 4 hours long.
do I want to commit 4 hours to watching that movie? I need to watch it in sittings. I don't think I can do that all at once.
Yeah, but
Honestly,
do you stream stuff? Do you stream stuff for 4 hours at a time? Do you binge watch something for 4 hours?
Not one thing. Well, I don't know. I'm weird. I don't watch movie TV. I just will watch different YouTube videos for hours. So I'm constantly switching. I don't know. It is one sitting, but
Did anyone see anything about the spring break COVID outbreak in Miami? Because obviously us here at URI didn't get a spring break, but down there it seems pretty bad.
that's stupid.
It's dumb. I have a really good friend that lives in Miami, and she was like, "Lee, when are you gonna come visit?" And I was like, "After your 4,300 new cases a day is gone," because there's pictures from spring break where it's you can't see grass and you can't see the street. It's just people, probably predominantly college kids. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If we want this pandemic to be over, if we want to go back to having fun, don't do that.
it's annoying because I feel we're getting so much closer to finally seeing the end, and then they go and do this, and it's really you couldn't have just held on a little bit longer before wilding out.
Well, speaking specifically to URI, you know how we had gotten rid of the spring break, so we would eliminate this from happening. Kids wouldn't go and then come back, maybe get COVID, bring it back.
Yeah.
I know personally, I have some friends that what they did is they just told the professors that they were quarantined or that they couldn't make it to class, so they were taking it virtually. The school can't say no, and then they went to Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a workaround to everything.
That's pretty scummy.
Hate
That's
to see
just-
that.
It is.
I really hate to see that.
That's terrible.
And like they're gonna come back to class the next week after being completely exposed to X amount of people. That's ridiculous. Like, why would you do something like that that could potentially kill other people? Like,
It just honestly seems like everyone's taking time now that it's been a year, and they're all sick of it as the official end when it's really not. And we
I don't know. I feel like as soon as people were like, "Oh, I'm vaccinated," like they see one person get vaccinated on like their Snapchat, and they're like, "COVID's over. We got a cure, so we're good." And it's like
for
no,
you, yeah, but it's not for everyone else.
no.
Right.
Like, I'm sure even though you still don't want to get it, even if it's not going to be as bad. Like, even if you're not going to go to the hospital for it or anything.
So this is a really awful segue, but on the vaccination front, want to talk about donuts?
Absolutely.
Cream coming in clutch.
So who wants to speak to that? What do we want to say?
I can talk about it a little bit. I don't know that much, but I just know that Krispy Kreme is like kind of doing this promotion, which in my head I'm like, do they really care, or is this a PR stunt? But nevertheless, they are offering people who have gotten like either one of the vaccine where you have to get two, one of those, or the one Johnson & Johnson one. If you can like show that you've been vaccinated, they'll give you a free donut, which is like cool, great, but also like, what if you don't have a Krispy Kreme nearby? Like, I wish somewhere bigger did this because I feel like it would reach more people.
But the thing is that I also thought was interesting is that, fine, Krispy Kreme wants to motivate the public to get the vaccination, great. But you know how easy it is to just Google COVID vaccination card and print out the exact thing and just write something in?
That's what I was wondering. I think a lot of people are going to be like faking it just to get the free donut, because it's not only just
Well, I guess
free donut a day for the rest of the year, which is like you could be eating your breakfast for free for the rest of the year if you have a Krispy Kreme down the street. Oh my God, that's a tongue twister. But
these cards,
system.
there's no official like seal or anything that makes them like notarized or special. It's literally an index card.
Mm-hmm.
A regular old index card that they write on with a pen. Didn't even complete the information. My birthday is not on here. My patient number, whatever, is not on here. And it's already like falling apart and deteriorating. There's nothing special about these cards at all. So
then why are people covering up? Why are people covering up part of it when they post it then?
Maybe they don't want people knowing the date of birth. I don't know.
Oh.
Michael, I have a question.
Yes, Lee.
Just because I don't have any like super close friends who've like gotten all of it yet, what would like as part of the process like I'm just curious because I know that last week it was like really difficult. Like what I guess did that last kind of entail? You know?
So how did I feel? Well, actually, I'll speak to it, and then maybe Natalie can too, because Natalie got it right after I did. I got pretty sick. I had a fever close to 102 for 2 days, like body aches, chills, and even after my fever went away, I was just so super tired. And I got tired after the first shot, but that was it. No other symptoms. I felt fine otherwise. But this one really did me in. I felt sick for 2 days.
Yeah, I got really tired after the first shot as well. After the second one, I didn't get nearly as sick as Michael. I really didn't have that much of a fever. And I had the chills and I was really tired and achy for about a day, but that was about it. That was pretty good. I got it Friday and I was pretty back to normal by Sunday. So, yeah.
I wonder how the one-shot one's going to go. If that's going to make you more sick the first time or not.
I know two people who got the Johnson & Johnson shot. They got it at CVS. I think they're like early 60s. And the only symptoms they had like maybe 2 or 3 hours the night of they got the shot, like flu-type symptoms. But then right after that, they were fine and just had like a sore arm. Oh, that's the other thing I didn't mention about what happened with my shot. And the same thing, Natalie, too. I got COVID arm. I had this huge like red lump. So my shot was up here. But I got this like red lump on my arm down here, and it was hot to the touch and so sore. It was like a hard lump in my arm, and I didn't get that the first time. Natalie, you did the first time?
Yeah, I got it both times. And some people are getting like swollen bumps under their armpits too. I know some of my mother's coworkers had that, but I didn't have that. I just had the COVID arm both times.
Well, the swollen lumps under your armpits makes sense because you have lymph nodes down there and you're injecting a virus into you and your lymph nodes inflame whenever you get any type of sickness. So that part makes sense, but the COVID arm thing makes no sense.
That's so
Seems like it's
A
another.
little weird.
yeah.
They say it's normal though. There's really not much of an explanation, but they say it's normal. And I'm taking the positive spin on this and thinking, hey, I got really sick for 2 days. That means that they did definitely injected me with something, and hopefully it's going to do what they told me it is.
It's
Has
definitely
anyone
better.
else gotten it yet, or like going to get it soon, or does anyone not want to get it?
I want to get it, but I don't think I can yet.
Same.
I work for DoorDash, so I'm hoping I can like find a way since I'm like a food worker.
You've tried that.
Just be like, hey, let me get that shot.
You can go hang around a CVS at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You're saying by the end of May, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it different for state to state, or is it like a nationwide thing? Because I think that Connecticut, I don't know who's a Connecticut person here, but Gavin, my roommate, lives in Connecticut. He's from Connecticut, and says, and Caden too. Caden, you are.
Yeah.
What date? April 2nd?
So it was originally May 3rd, and I signed up and like registered for everything for May 3rd. But then Ned Lamont pushed it back to April. So I don't know the exact date anymore, but I know it's like sometime in April. People 16 and over in Connecticut are able to get it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm also from Connecticut.
I think something like that is happening in Mass too, like 16 and over after the 1st of April. I feel like I like heard someone talking about that briefly, but I don't live in Mass, but
I just wonder where you would go to actually sign up to get it once this like the states open up. I know in Rhode Island we have this, like you can get it through a CVS, you can maybe get it through your workplace, you can get it at some like pod set up somewhere. Regardless where you get it, it all is in one database through the Department of Health. But you can also sign up for the state-run sites on that same website to get a shot. But I don't know, like Massachusetts, Connecticut, other states. Do you know how to go about it yet? New York?
As far as I know, like Yonkers, like where I'm from, they had a whole armory set up. It was through like, I think it was like the National Guard or something. And anyone who was eligible for the vaccine could make an appointment and go there. And I'm pretty sure it's through the state. But if you're making like an appointment through like CVS or something like that, it's just through CVS.
With people trying to go get like their shots, I know hanging out at like CVS and Walgreens at the end of each day, just trying to get a vaccine. It's great, it works, but I know the people that have are really struggling to get their second shot within that window of time that they need. You know, Pfizer's 21 days, Moderna's 28 days. Just because they give you a leftover shot does not guarantee you a second one. So that's a risk that, you know, if you're willing to take, great, but that's posing an issue for some people that I know.
A place
So
where
what
they
do
should
you-
do it is honestly,
What are you supposed to do? So like if you're going there late
Yeah.
in the day, like they don't make another appointment for you, you just have to show up late another day and hope to get it. And if you don't
Or
get it,
try and find it an appointment at like a state run pod. Like I know you can go on the Vaccinate RI here and choose one in Cranston, Providence, you know, wherever, and just try and get an appointment because they don't
So-
guarantee you one.
If you don't get the second one in time, though, does that first one then become like useless? Like, does it-
Supposedly you're not as protected. It doesn't work.
I saw a TikTok. Someone was in that window. They got COVID between the window between. Well, I can't speak. They got COVID in between their first and second vaccine.
Oh wow!
Also, I've found out that you're not supposed to take ibuprofen to deal with the symptoms. I did not know that. Like, I have like a friend that goes to Clemson in South Carolina, and she had to get it. But they didn't tell her because she got it like affiliated with her school. They didn't tell her that she was going to take ibuprofen, and it like messes with like the workability. I can't think of the right word.
It's because ibuprofen is a blood thinner. They were saying the same
Yeah.
thing like last year when COVID was first happening. Like they weren't exactly sure how it affects your body, so they were saying stay away from ibuprofen, only take Tylenol.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't taken ibuprofen since.
It's just scary how many like weird parameters there are, and like I want to get it so bad, but I'm like scared of messing up. Like I have like a weird fear of like doing something wrong and then having COVID arm forever, and then just living my life with COVID arm. I don't have that fear, but
I feel like they're just sticking COVID in front of everything. I've heard COVID nose, COVID arm, COVID head. Like I've heard everything. Everything is somehow related back to the vaccine, and I don't know if that's like scientifically proven, but I know that all the people that I got it with when I got mine, my coworkers and the elderly clients where I work, we all got it on the same day, probably like 80 of us. Everyone is attributing every single little side effect they've had for the past week to the second COVID shot. And I wonder how much of it's actually from the shot or if it's just other things and people are like getting around.
Right. It's very
Depends on
interesting.
how bad it is. Depends on how bad.
Some people, like the elderly that got their second shot, I know numerous people, not even just through work, some of my family friends, like they like took a steep decline after the second shot. Like it really did some harm to
Yeah,
them.
my grandma actually just got her second shot about 2 weeks ago now, and she has been like, she said she feels like she's on the edge of death for like the past week. Just this past weekend, I believe she started to feel a little bit better. But then I believe like yesterday I was on the phone with my dad and he said she wasn't feeling well again. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like it definitely affects everybody differently.
So
Someone commented, "What is COVID arm?" Michael, do you want to explain that
I
again?
can try and show a picture. It's through my phone. It probably won't look that good, and it really you can't tell. But I just come on. See, I had this. I had come back. Where was it? See, like just that red rash-looking thing. It was a hard red lump, though. It wasn't a rash. It was a lump on my arm, and it was very, very sore. And it was from the shot. I know because other people got it too. But it just, I was wondering why here when my shot was here.
Kind of looks like a bruise.
Some people did get bruises from the shots too. I've seen that, like huge, like black and blue around where it was.
Well, that happens with any type of shot. If you're prone to bruises, that can happen.
So I'm just like a resident medical now tonight.
Just
I don't
nursing things.
I feel like I'm so informed. You're doing amazing.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about?
So one of the bad things that happened over the last week was the shooting in Atlanta. Obviously, that not a good topic to talk about, but anyone have any insight?
Like in relation to COVID, I think it hasn't been. I don't know if it's been confirmed. It's basically been confirmed by this person's actions. Like there have been a lot of like hate crimes against Asians and Asian Americans in the United States because our previous president, I think it's a direct correlation, because called it the Chinese virus. And I think that's just put like such a terrible target on so many Asian Americans' backs for literally no reason at all. And there have been like a lot of like just racially motivated crimes. So there's like a trend recently, like it's like a hashtag recently, like just to stop like the hate against Asians and Asian Americans. But like I feel like it shouldn't have taken like a shooting in like a small Atlanta community for like that to start happening, because these crimes have been happening ever since the pandemic began.
Yeah, so in the shooting, 8 people died and 6 of them were Asian American women, and that was kind of the correlation between Asian hate crime right now during this time, during the pandemic, and the shooting. And I remember a time where they said Asian restaurants at the beginning of the pandemic were really struggling because people didn't want to go and get Chinese takeout. And I also think that directly relates to how our former President Donald Trump talked about the virus, the context he put it in, and I think it was a shame and the Asian community is really suffering.
Any Asian business. I was talking to someone recently and they were like, "Oh yeah, I haven't gotten my nails done in over a year." I was like, "Well, yeah, that makes sense because like COVID, you weren't going places." She was like, "No, like we were just scared because like it's an Asian-owned business." I was like, "But they live here. It's just same risk as anything else." Like it really bothered me, like the fact that people think that way. Like that just doesn't make any sense.
I feel like just talking about shootings and stuff, like we also, I don't know, one of another things we wanted to talk about was that there was a shooting in Colorado yesterday afternoon, I think, in a grocery store, and 10 people died. And so I just think it's really, I mean, one, just tragic that like within a week, like, because the shooting that happened in Atlanta was on the 16th, I believe. Yeah, which is exactly a week ago from today. So in less than a week, we've had 2 like mass shootings, and it just is like really disheartening that these people are able to get these weapons and like go out and commit these crimes. Like, it just makes me, the fact that we've had 2 of these things happen so close to one another, it's just like, this isn't just a one-off problem. Like, this is something systemic, a problem within our culture and our country. And it just makes me really sad, because as much as, oh my God, it's on my face for so long, this is making me anxious. As much as like, it's nice to, you know, send our like thoughts and prayers and stuff, like, that's not stopping these things from happening. Like, we've seen that. If 2 shootings have happened within a week, like, why?
Right.
Why? That's,
I saw a post today that said there's been 102 mass shootings in this country since the beginning of 2021, and it's only March. And it just shocked me. Like, my heart sank. Like, I haven't even heard about the majority of them because the news just doesn't cover them, because if it's not something they can make money off of, they don't want to talk about it. And it's really, like, really disheartening.
I hadn't heard about mass shootings in a while, like during the entire like 2020. I don't know if part of that's just because the pandemic was so big and that was what the news was covering 24/7. But really, like, I haven't heard about it until these last 2, basically.
I feel like people forgot about the issue for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You would think that, like, as a country, we'd be smart enough to kind of put in place like more laws or restrictions on weapons like that, but no, I guess not.
It seems like it always has to come to these extremes, and then they're like, oh, what can we do to fix it? Not what can we do to prevent these things from happening? Like, kind of like, where's the logic?
It would be the
I
argument
just want
too.
to slap a Band-Aid on it.
There's no logic in DC. I think we already knew that.
Oh, right, there isn't. That's good.
Yeah. It's just, I feel like, I don't know. It's weird because I see so many like videos of people. This is like, it sounds so ick, but like people in Europe, and I feel like there is such a different culture over there surrounding like, I don't know, the topic of gun rights and things like that, because it's almost like not a topic. Like, I don't know, we're still having this debate, and I don't understand it. It's like, it's just hard to wrap my head around, I guess, because it's literally done nothing for us. Like, I feel like I got why we needed guns and stuff back when we were like fighting for liberation from the British and stuff, but that was like hundreds of years ago. We're not, like, we shouldn't be fighting anybody here, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's not like we're in the middle of
It's not like we're in the middle of the Civil War.
Right.
Waiting for
Or like the Revolutionary War, like
yeah.
business, like.
It just seems like the cons outweigh the pros when these things happen. It's like, you know, where was the good guy that was supposed to have a gun to protect? It's like he died. Like the first cop on the scene at the Colorado shooting died. Like,
we're all like, we want reform, and the government's like, no, you take 100 years old rules. You have that. It's like, we're done with them.
But we're actually getting some interaction from Facebook right now, and that's something that doesn't often happen. I don't want to pass this up. I want this person to be able to get their questions answered. The question is, what do you imagine doing in the face of so many issues that you see going on in our country at this point in time? What can we do in the face of gun violence and Black Lives Matter, etc.? However small, it is very important that we take personal responsibility to be able to make a difference. So what are our thoughts on this, personal thoughts?
Can I talk real quick? I know I've talked a lot tonight, but I just want to
go off.
So I think, especially with this group in particular, it's so important that we as like young people and we as like the future voices like within this country do take on like that personal responsibility. So I really like that you added that at the end of your question. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, and Charleston was like victim to like a really bad mass like racially motivated shooting, Mother Emanuel AME church shooting. And then this past summer with like the death of George Floyd, it like really like amplified that feeling back into our community of like, not amplified it back because it's always been there. It's like Charleston strong, as like what we started to say after that shooting. But like this summer with COVID going on and everything, there were still so many like especially young voices like going to marches with myself and with other people in the community that were like, and still are like so passionate about not only like talking about change but like making moves to create it. And so I feel like especially in like the face of gun violence and Black Lives Matter and all these things, like especially recently with Asian and Asian American like racially motivated crimes, like I feel like it's so important that even if we do feel like trapped in our own little like bubble here at college and nothing's directly happening to our community, that we like do make a conscious effort, whether it's like through advocacy, like implementing change in their communities, like writing letters and things like that, just doing outreach to like not just talk about change, but like to inspire it and to like push it into like happening. I don't know if that made sense, but that's like, I'm just like really passionate about this matter, and I just wanted to say that, especially as like college kids.
For sure. I just like thought of something when you said that. I feel like an important thing in like taking personal responsibility in the face of so many issues is just like educating yourself on what life is like for people who aren't like you, like people outside of your social identity. So if you're straight, like think about what life is like for gay people. If you're white, like think about what life is like for people of color. Like think about those perspectives that you don't know and will never know, and think about how the systems in place may be benefiting you in some way and putting other people at a disadvantage for the things they can't control, those aspects of their social identity. Right. So I feel like that's an important thing, because I feel like having ignorance to what other people are going through is a big problem, why there's so much division and why people don't care to make change and fight for things that don't necessarily affect them or that they see in their lives, because they don't know, they don't care, it doesn't affect them. They're just going to continue living their lives.
Right.
And when that happens, those marginalized voices don't get heard, and the things that they suffer that the majority doesn't have to deal with, like, don't get addressed, and change doesn't happen, and nothing occurs. So I feel like it's just really important to remember that, like, the world, like, you are one little person in such a small bubble in a specific place. Like, life is so different for so many people. The things you wouldn't even think of being an issue, other people deal with regularly. So I feel like that's an important thing.
Uplifting voices, for sure. Like, I remember when people were posting like the black tiles on their Instagram. That was like such like a hard thing, because I feel like especially during the pandemic, where people like don't feel comfortable like going out and advocating for change like directly, there's been a lot of like social media advocacy, but like with that brings that whole topic of I don't know, like slacktivacy and like I guess showy activism, where it's like you're just posting things to post them, which is like what you want to do is like amplify those marginalized voices, and all those black tiles like pushed all of the important information down. So I think like that's definitely something to like be mindful of, just as far as like what we can directly do in the face of so many issues is like be mindful of what's happening, and also like amplify the voices of people that like don't share our experiences but share those bad ones that like keep occurring, unfortunately.
That was powerful.
Throw up. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I feel like it's so important, and I'm really glad that this person asked this question. I can't see the name, it's just this Facebook user. But
yeah, shout out Facebook user.
Facebook user, you are inspiring and inciting so many awesome conversations. So thank you, Facebook user.
We love the interaction.
All right, so I think that's all the time we have tonight. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next